Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Mechanocatalytic, and I'll be talking on Mechanocatalytic Fractionation of cocoa products for valuable chemicals. What it simply means is we are combining mechanical force and a catalyst to break down cocoa products to achieve valuable chemicals. I'm a second year PhD student, and my supervisor is Dr. Professor Karen Vivier, and Engineer Professor Vivier Rossi. Everybody loves chocolate. Yeah, everybody loves chocolate. But the primary material used in the production of chocolate is the cacao bean. Now, this cocoa bean comes from the cocoa crop. When you harvest the cocoa crop, it has three byproducts. You have the cocoa bean, you have a whiter substance around the bean known as the mucilage, and then you have the biggest part known as the cocoa pod husk. The husk is what covers the cocoa crop. You see, in West Africa produces 70% of cocoa production globally. Countries such as Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon top the charts for cocoa production. When you go to Latin America, you have countries like Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia that produces huge amount of cocoa. In Southeast Asia, you have Indonesia who top the charts for cocoa production. But the problem here is that every farmer is interested in the cocoa bean because yes, you can make chocolate from it, you can make beverages from it. But nobody is interested in the larger portion, which is the cocoa pod husk. After cultivating, they leave it on the farm to rot and decay. Now, when you leave it on the farmland to rot and decay, it brings about diseases such as the black pod rot disease, you have the frosty pod rot disease, you have the witch's broom disease. What these diseases do is that they attack the cocoa plant and they end up destroying about 30 to 90% of the cocoa plant. So this is a problem, and we want to solve this problem. So what we want to do is we want to pick up these cocoa pod husks and we want to break them down because this cocoa pod husk is lignocellulosic. What does that mean? It simply means it consists of three main components, which is cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. And of course, when you break down cellulose and hemicellulose, you can get some sugars and glucose and other chemical intermediates. And when you break down lignin, you can get some phenolics and some aromatics. And we want to do this by using a mechanical force and a catalyst. So I think that is everything I've said here. Okay, now this is how we intend to do this. First, we go to Ghana. Of course, I'm from Ghana, so I carry cocoa pod husks, we pre-treat it by sun drying, and then we bring it to France here. We crush the cocoa pod husks and we sieve them. Now, for the ball milling, we use the ball mill, the rich PM200 to do this ball mill. PM is simply power mill 200. And in order to do this ball mill, there are three important parameters to look at: the milling time, the milling speed, and what we call the BPR. The BPR simply means the ball to powder ratio. So with ball milling, there is a ball that you use, and we are using the zirconium oxide ball of diameter 10 mm. So what we do is that first we do milling without a catalyst. And then after getting your powder, we dissolve in water to see which water soluble sugars are able to leave this powder to our solvent, which is water, and we analyze the liquid extract to see which compounds are we able to extract from the milk powder. After that, then we do another milling where we impregnate it with a catalyst. So far, the catalyst, we've tried the sulfuric acid, and then we try to also analyze what we're able to bring out from doing the ball milling. So basically, this is just the solubility protocol. Now, the results we have, of course, we have so many results, but these are just some interesting things I try to bring out. So first, the plot you have here. Okay, so the black plot you see is when we do milling without a catalyst. And the blue plot you see over here is when we do milling with a catalyst. And we are talking about sulfuric acid when we do 4% impregnation. The plot over here is the same way. This is when we vary milling time, and here is when we vary milling speed. So what this means is that when we do the ball milling, we increase the speed from 200 to 300, 400, 500, and we investigate. And then over here, we also increase the time. So first we do milling for 2 hours, we stop, we continue, and we do another one for 4 hours, and then we do the solubility. What we saw is that whether you mill with a catalyst or without a catalyst, whether you use sulfuric acid, the solubility yield we are seeing begins from 20% and it ends to almost 38 to 40%. And this was a bit strange for us. We visited the literature to see what is happening. And of course, people are reporting similar results, but the main issue is that when you take a cacao product, the lignin is a lot in it. And so it is with lignin it's very difficult to depolymerize it. But what was strange was that after doing the analysis, when you do the solubility yield, When you mill without a catalyst, the color changes from a pale yellow and increases to a dark brownish color. But when you mill with sulfuric acid, the color remains as pale yellow, which means that we suspect that even though when you do the milling, you don't necessarily change the solubility, probably you are changing the nature of the compounds. And of course, we investigated this milling, which is made without the catalyst, and we see three important compounds that are dominant in it. We see gluconic acid, glucaric acid, and we see vanillic acid. And these are coming from sugar decomposition. And of course, we do other milling, we vary other parameters. We use 20. So this milling was done with 20 balls. 20 balls, as you can see here, 20 balls was done, and we know it 2 grams, etc. But when you mill with 25 balls, you increase the speed. 30 balls, you increase the speed. You are able to activate lignin. That is from the solution. We are able to see other products that come from lignin derivatives. So far, this is what we've done. We are yet to analyze this particular sample. And of course, the main goal is that we want to target aquivon. Aquivon is also a solid catalyst, and it has been reported in literature that it has the ability to degrade cellulose and achieve a solubility of sugars around 98%. So that is actually the target. We want to see if we also try aquivon, we can completely degrade this and probably increase the solubility to a much higher result and see if any magic will happen. But so the magic happens, we'll keep researching. Thank you.